things aren't fair, and you can either choose to like sit back and cry about it. You can be upset about it and woe is me, and or you can just say, okay, yeah, that sucks. Now what?
Hello and welcome to the Proclamation Podcast. My name is Luke Nolan. I'm your host today, and I'm here with our guest, CJ Duxbury.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Are you doing well?
Very well. Thank you.
Good. It's been a while since we discussed you being on the podcast.
Yeah.
Now you're here.
I'm here. I'm excited.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited. Yeah.
We had a little technical hiccup setting up for today's podcast. So we've already been talking for like 45 minutes.
It's great. It's wonderful.
It's good. I wanted to ask you how we met because I could not remember leading up to this podcast.
Oh, man. Probably while working at the Chamber of Commerce, probably.
Yeah.
When Foursquare was just a little space.
Little box.
Little closet.
Were you here for the ribbon cutting?
I was
actually extremely disappointed that there wasn't a real cutting of a ribbon with real scissors.
The Velcro snap wasn't the same as cutting a ribbon.
Oh, Robbie was there.
Robbie was there.
That's right.
Yes,
okay.
Robbie. Yes. No, I think that was it though.
Tear the Velcro.
On the count of 3, rip.
You had to train me how to do it.
I did show you how to do it. I don't want you to be...
Do people have trouble with it?
Oh, of course. People think the wooden scissors actually cut.
Yeah.
It was tough. Yeah.
They're like,
tough time.
They're actually kind of heavy though, if I remember. They're like
5
plywood.
feet. Yeah. They're like 5-foot scissors.
But they don't cut.
They don't cut anything.
Worth anything.
No, zero.
How many ribbon cuttings did you do at the chamber?
Oh, geez. Too many? 100?
You were there how many years?
Almost 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does the chamber do?
It's a great resource for the business community. So advocating on behalf of businesses, helping with, publicity, ribbon cuttings, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Doing, a lot of stuff in the community, business related. So
I was super skeptical at first.
Yeah. Most are.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I think the chamber is a very old school type mentality.
Kind of like Lions Club.
Exactly.
Or
like a service organization almost. Where
people
it's
don't know really what it is anymore.
And I think it was just, the chamber is kind of, I don't want to say outdated, but there's some practices that are outdated.
Sure.
So like meeting in person and doing lunches and 30-second commercials and those things that 10 years ago were super normal aren't
as much
anymore.
Yeah.
With LinkedIn and Facebook and every other social media platform. I think going to a breakfast at 7 a.m. to have a 30-second commercial is seen as less important.
Sure.
So I think some people are skeptical and it struggled a little bit for sure.
I mean, I was like, there's no way that the value will be added back to my business, but because of a couple of people like yourself, I mean, you may have been single-handedly the person that, pivoted me the other direction of saying, hey, this is a great thing. Once I got into it, I realized, wow, there's a lot of opportunities that this is opening up. If nothing else, people in the chamber start coming to your business.
For sure.
And so I think there's definitely a place for it in most businesses.
Yeah. And that's the easiest ones are coffee shops, restaurants, those type of services where you can actually go
consumables.
Totally. Where you can go in and say, I'm here because you're a chamber member.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy this because you're a chamber member. But to people
if you already have an attorney and you join the chamber, you're not going to just go get 5 attorneys.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are times where people would call the chamber, when I was there and say, I need project manager, and I'd go through and look at and find 3 or 4 that we have and send those out. So it is a great resource.
I know. I've texted you and Kevin many times over the years and asked
for sure,
hey, do you know somebody?
And the chamber is great at promoting local business for sure.
Yeah.
It is great. One time.
And now you work for Boys and Girls Club of America.
Placer County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't cover the whole.
I don't cover all of America.
The lower 48.
No, unfortunately not. Just Placer County right now.
Yeah.
So.
And what do you guys do there?
Yeah. So the Boys and Girls Club is an after school program. It's not a daycare. It's not a child care facility. It's an after school program. So kids get off of the bus and they jump right into what's called Power Hour, where they do homework. And we have trained staff that help with homework and, get them all situated, make sure that all their schoolwork is done.
Okay.
They get a snack right after, and then jump into club activities. So it could be.
And what ages is it?
6 to 18.
Okay. So all the way through.
Totally. Yeah. We have our teen center, which specializes in like workforce development and, money matters and those type of things to help them.
The things they should be learning in school.
The things they should be learning in school. So we have a lot of great partners who like come in and teach those things. Like banks and stuff will come in and teach like money management. Wow. So, you're given $1,000 and they're like, what kind of car do you want? They're like, I want a Lambo.
Of course.
And they're like, you don't have enough money for that car payment.
Let's work on a savings plan.
But no, it's great.
Where did you have your first bank account at?
Oh, geez.
When you were a kid?
In Merced. Oh, geez. Citibank, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like special programs for kids and stuff.
Yeah, I think that I remember going there. I don't know why I went there, but it's like down the street from our house.
Like, I have $10. Why am I here?
They probably thought the same thing. Why is this guy here? So
gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, totally.
I remember when I closed my first bank account, I was actually really bummed because I felt really loyal to them, but they sucked. Yeah. So once I learned, they had like 2 branches in Sacramento.
Yeah, it's rough.
You can't stick with them forever.
No, you can't. You move on. You grow.
It's not an emotional decision. No. You have to make it.
It's not me.
It's a financial decision.
No, it is for sure. For sure.
So what's your favorite part about working for that organization?
Just working with the kids, knowing that you're making a difference, like in the future of kids. We have what's called our Youth of the Year. Most of the time they're a little older, but they've gone through like club programming and that stuff, and hearing the impact that the Boys and Girls Club has had on their life that's awesome. It's huge, because a lot of times teens don't talk very much, and then you hear like they'll give a speech or they'll talk about what club has meant to them, and you'll hear and you're like, oh man, I had no idea. Yeah.
So it kind of like takes away the 9 to 5 monotony out of a job to know what you're doing.
Absolutely. And I sit where my office is. I sit where I can see like the front door. So having the kids get off of the school bus and then they all walk by. And
you see them all.
They all like pound on the window and wave. And, they want to. It's great. It's great for me. I love seeing everybody. And sometimes I'll like be on the phone talking to like a donor or somebody, and then the bus comes and I try to get off real fast because the kids are all coming through, and it's so loud to have 150 kids get off of a bus, and they come through and they're all banging on the door and want to talk, and you're like, oh sorry, hold on 1 second.
They like you.
And I like them.
You guys probably had to do some changes, make some changes, do some pivoting the last year. In 2020. What was that like?
Crazy. The Boys and Girls Club, so we've done food in a smaller aspect, just like snacks and that kind of stuff for once kids got to the Boys and Girls Club. But really quick, seeing when everything was like shut down to the max, seeing that there was such a need and trying to figure out like, what can we do? How do we still serve our families? How do we still serve kids? Because for us, it was a Friday, and it was like kids, it was like, grab your computer, grab everything. We're closing for 2 weeks. So it was like, 2 weeks for close. Like, no biggie. And then 2 weeks turned into 4 weeks, turned into 3 months, turned into a year later. And
were you guys closed the whole year?
Almost.
Okay. It was months and months.
It was months for sure. Yeah. So then it was just crazy. But having to pivot from having hundreds of kids at the Boys and Girls Club to it being super noisy to, all of that into like coming in and everyone's wearing a mask, and there's only, all of our youth development specialists couldn't come in because there was not much for them to do with no kids there. So, just some 3 or 4 admin staff coming in, and everyone's in a mask and everyone's 27 feet away from each other, not knowing like what the heck's going on.
We don't know if we're all going to die.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
But pivoting into asking families, like, what do you need? How can we support you during this time? And food insecurity was like one of the number one things people were dealing with.
Wow. The
hoarding of toilet paper, not being able to find milk, not being able to like feed your kids. people weren't working. So then if you're not working, you don't have money. And if you don't have money, you're not going to the grocery store to buy groceries.
Sure.
So food insecurity was
and you're
huge.
staying at home more, eating everything,
Exactly.
eating all your food at home.
And a lot of our families are on like free and reduced lunch. And
sorry, say that again.
They're on free and reduced lunch.
Gotcha.
So at school, they don't pay for lunch.
Yeah.
So a meal is taken care of while they're at school. And a lot of them go for breakfast also. So if breakfast is taken care of at school. Are you guys
completely donor funded?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
If,
so there still are good people out there.
There's a few of them.
Okay. You have to go find them.
I have to find some of them. Yeah. Some of them are a little harder to find, but I try to locate them. But yeah, because
that's no small budget.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And then flipping into after school programming into like, how can we provide a Boys and Girls Club type atmosphere or type feel at home? So then we started creating Boys and Girls Club packets where we did like a virtual clubhouse.
Did you guys do like videos?
We did
send out videos to the kids and stuff like that.
It was just tough because we couldn't have staff in.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, we want to do this.
So you're at home in your PJs doing
totally trying to make a flyer into like. So we did like a week-long activities with like a fun fact of the day.
Nice.
So you
kind of did mini summer camps almost.
Totally throughout the time. So we distributed hundreds and hundreds of packets, and then we partnered with the Placer Food Bank, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they're right over on Washington, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So we partnered with them, which was one of the best decisions that we did. I think a lot of times in the nonprofit world, people stray away from like partnering with nonprofits because everyone's kind of after the same pot of money essentially. Like the city has X amount of dollars and all nonprofits are like they sick that pot of money like,
which is a great lesson for people listening that collaborate. There is so much money out there available,
and if you collaborate, businesses, grants, opportunities open up even more. So
you're not competitors, you're actually partners.
We're allies. We're in this together. Totally. We're all serving the common good. We're all like, we're worried about our kids having access to food. They're worried about people having access to food. You have access to food. We have access to kids. How do we work together to do marriage? This? We reached out and it was immediate. There was like no questions asked. They're like, we'll have a truck to you on Friday.
Wow.
And the first couple times I picked up in my Prius, which was interesting to load 1,000 pounds of food into a Prius.
Yeah.
I mean, Prius have great.
Did you have to check the manual?
Horsepower. Great horsepower on a Prius climbing up to Auburn. You know what I mean? Just like you could fly up there, but no, my car was like slammed 55. To the ground. Oh, dude, it was slammed to the ground and like it was the worst.
Does anyone have a truck?
I lived in the area, so it was easy for me to like swing on by and pick it up.
Yeah.
And I would just open the back and we just load boxes and potatoes and like sandwiches and like all of this produce and stuff in the back of my car. And I'd get in just to try to go and it's like, and you're going like 5 miles an hour. It was great. But
that Prius fed many children.
So many. Yeah.
It's amazing.
But no, it was great. And then they were able to bring a refrigerated truck up to Auburn for us and distribute food. So we've been giving out anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 pounds a week from the start of the pandemic.
Wow.
So we did 2 weeks ago, we looked up, it was about 57,000 pounds of food that we've distributed to our families and people in need in the area. So just a complete pivot into like, what do our families need and trying to provide that. Another really cool thing that we did was provide Wi-Fi hotspots to kids who didn't have access to internet. So distance learning was brand new to everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of families don't have tablets and computers and things that like a lot of us take for granted,
Yeah.
And then the school is able to provide them with a Chromebook, but a Chromebook only goes so far when you don't have internet access.
Right.
And when 90% of our kids are scholarshiped into the Boys and Girls Club, our cost is we charge $10 a month for membership, and we scholarship over 90% of the kids that we have at $10 a month.
Oh, wow.
So now you're asking them to have internet access, which they don't have. And how do we do that? So we were able to partner with some awesome organizations, and they stepped up to the plate, and we were able to pass out Wi-Fi hotspots to a ton of our members and families and people that we absolutely needed it.
Yeah.
So able to provide that to them so they can continue with school.
Has being a part of that organization kind of opened up your eyes more to how much of a need there is right in our area? Because I think often we think about, oh, like there's starving kids in Africa. People say stereotypical things like
Of
that.
course.
But has it helped you see more of like what's immediate and what's in our own backyard?
Yeah, it's really insane to think about what's going on a block and a half away. You know, we have 3 locations currently
From Foursquare,
in Auburn,
where we're sitting right now. Yeah.
We have 3 locations in Auburn, and we're in the process of opening a 4th here in Roseville. And it was kind of like, where do we build this? How do we make this happen? So we started looking at different areas, and you're like, okay, West Park. And you're like, most people who are in the West Park area, they're doing okay. You know,
They just bought that house probably.
Buying $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 homes. They're doing okay. Looking at different pockets of areas, and then it was the Roseville Heights neighborhood, which is again a block and a half away. We've met here and walked over. It's a 5-minute walk.
Totally.
And there's 3,700 students within a 1.5 mile radius of where we're building our new clubhouse. And you're like, wow, that's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
There's 6 schools within walking distance around us. 70% of them are on free and reduced lunch. This was as of 2 years ago. Now, can you imagine what that
70% of the kids at those schools are on free and reduced lunch.
One of them, Woodbridge Elementary School, which is 2 blocks away from where our site's going to be, they're at like 95%. So most of the kids that we're actually going to be serving are on free and reduced lunch. They qualify. It's the lowest median income level in Roseville. It's the highest need area. It's the area of most crime. So when the opportunity came up to open a location in the Roseville Heights neighborhood, it was a no-brainer, knowing how many kids are there, the needs there. What better? I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for us to open an after-school program for kids to come, not be playing in the street, have a place to go, get loved
where
on
they
by
could
some
get
people.
hurt or something.
Yeah, totally.
Get into the wrong crowd.
Exactly. But, letting them come in, giving them food, going through homework, making sure their homework's done, and then doing some quality activities. It's not just like arts and crafts and popsicle sticks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's going to be a brand new tech center that's there. So we're going to try to get into like coding and
web design, stuff like that.
100%. And that's where we're going to be leaning into people in the Roseville area to come in and help. We're going to need volunteers to come in and teach, and we're going to need service organizations like Rotary to do Rotary readers. And we're going to need the community to come together.
Do you guys have a struggle of people wanting to help, but they don't want to do the work that's needed?
Yes, for sure. Everyone, I feel like the easy thing is, well, let me know if I can help. Instead of how can I help? It's let me know if you need any help. So then it kind of puts it back on you to then find something.
Balls in your court.
Exactly.
Yeah. Create a job for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it'd
be like if I came in and said, I want to make the kids coffee. And you're like, they don't really drink coffee.
Of course. And you're like, that sounds great. Like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
What if we did this? And you know what I mean? And trying to pivot onto something
How
else.
can I help?
Exactly. So everyone, when I say there's a need for volunteers, we need people to be a positive role model in people's lives. People are like, oh, I'd love to help. Great. So what day can you come? It's the action behind it. I'm
kind of busy.
Exactly. It's the action behind it. And not everybody can do it. And we totally understand that. But the tough part is I
feel like everyone is either capable of giving or helping.
Yes.
Maybe you don't have the time to help, but that means you probably have the resources to give, or vice versa.
For sure.
No, not everyone's in that position, but
absolutely.
I think most people could give $1 and not show up. Or maybe they give $1,000 and not show up. Or maybe you don't have any resources, but you have time.
For sure.
Show up and help.
And that's why for us, having like a steady stream of like monthly donors at $10 a month is huge for us. Because it costs us on average about $100 to serve a child each month.
Gotcha.
We have 100 kids that we serve.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 locations that we serve these children at. So there's definitely and you keep growing and growing and growing. So it's like, could you do $10 a month? Could you do $25 a month? Like, could you do something to make a difference?
Yeah.
And I encourage everybody, like,
so let's say someone's listening right now and they're like, I'm bored. I want to stop listening. What?
No one would do
what
that.
website? Where do they go? How could they start helping right now?
Yeah, bgcplacercounty.org.
Okay.
My contact information's on there.
Sweet.
Reach out. Our big thing is finding like people who can help meet a need somewhere. Like we have people who come in and do like music or yoga or cooking or gardening or like whatever
come in and
you
teach
want,
the kids something.
Whatever you want to help with, we're going to figure out how to get you involved.
Awesome.
And it doesn't have to be, I can come.
Or it could be sweeping the floor, cleaning up some poop.
Cleaning up some poop on the floor. It could happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. So, but getting involved in some capacity, you know, and if it's not the Boys and Girls Club, find something you're passionate about. If you're passionate about elderly, get involved, volunteer somewhere. You know what I mean? If you're passionate about animals, the SPCA open a brand new facility in Roseville.
It's beautiful.
Like get involved.
Yeah.
Find somewhere to like give back, because there's amazing nonprofits in the area who do amazing work. And if we just sat back and listened to all the things that all the great nonprofits are doing, there's going to be something you're going to be passionate about.
Also, I think there's a misconception when people hear nonprofit. It doesn't mean they don't need money.
For sure.
It also doesn't mean that they don't provide jobs. They do provide jobs. And they do need to make a profit. I mean, they have to be more coming in than going out.
Of course.
They just are not paying profits back to a bunch of stockholders.
Of course.
Their goal is to grow in whatever their mission is.
Yeah. And
if we don't give, that doesn't continue.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And one of our goals is for the Roseville Heights neighborhood is trying to hire from the neighborhood.
Nice.
How can we find people in the community that needs it the most? How can we find them who live in the neighborhood we're trying to impact? How do we get them involved? How do we get them a job? How do we get them self-sufficient to then take that next step, you know? And whether the Boys and Girls Club is a open door to then move to something else, like let it be that.
Yeah.
You know, come in, make a difference, have an impact, and see if it's the right fit for you. So we're trying to hire from the community that we're going to be opening at, and they'll get trained.
Yeah.
You know, they go through a full onboarding process to make sure that everyone
And you're still looking for those people.
100%.
Yeah.
So currently, anyone who wants to come up to Auburn, we have a ton of opportunities. We're getting ready to launch summer camp, which we're really excited about. 8 weeks of summer camp.
Nice.
On average, we'd have like 200 kids going. It's a little bit lower this year just because of everything that's going on.
Makes sense.
But we're looking for people to come in and help friends during summer camp. Come fill some water balloons.
How did you get involved? I mean, how did you hear about it and how did you get the job?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, my dad actually passed away. And I went to the Boys and Girls Club just to play basketball. So that's all I knew the Boys and Girls Club
You were
did.
hooping it up.
Dunking on everybody.
You were actually pretty good at basketball, if I remember.
50 pounds ago. Yeah, I was mean.
Yeah.
But I went to the Boys and Girls Club. You know, I played basketball there. That's what we did. Rode our bikes to the Boys and Girls Club, played basketball, and then rode back home. And that's all I knew. So was
this in Auburn?
No, this was in Merced.
In Merced.
Don't hold that against me.
I don't.
Okay. Merced's beautiful. But I went just to play basketball. That's all I did.
Yeah.
So I was at the Chamber of Commerce and the opportunity opened up at the Boys and Girls Club. And I was like, this would be kind of cool. And
it came full circle.
Met the CEO and he was like, hey, we're planning on opening something in Roseville. And I was like, well, I live in Roseville. I'm passionate about Roseville. I have connections in the business community in Roseville.
Connections. Yeah.
Like this would be a perfect fit. So here we are a couple years later and all full circle.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So it has a special meaning to you.
Yeah, it had a big impact in my life.
Yeah.
You know, it was a safe place for me to go to.
Like a huge length of term of your life.
For sure.
It was just very impactful.
It was
in a short amount of time.
Yeah, it was a safe place to go when you're like 16.
It's like the why.
Exactly.
For our parents. Like,
of course.
That generation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So being able to go
That's
to
the
a place,
YMCA.
Not the dance.
Right.
Not the dance.
Not the dance.
Not the dance. Not the village people.
There are millennials who are right now Wikipediaing. What is YMCA?
Of course. But yeah, it had an impact in my life for that season and was big for me. So to be able to like now see full circle all of the stuff the Boys and Girls Club does.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So going more personal, you and your wife work a lot. I can relate to that.
Yeah, it's busy.
Tell us what your wife does, and then how do you support her in that?
Yeah, so my wife is a florist, like your wife. She owns Fig and Vine, and we have a flower truck that we take out to different places and
Go
do
to
fun
events.
stuff, do pop-ups, and go all over Roseville and do fun stuff with it.
Yeah. It's your second flower truck.
It's our yes. We had one before. Yeah, it was a lot larger.
Yeah. You guys broke up and got a new one.
We got another one. So,
this one's pretty dope.
This one's 64 Econoline.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice. So,
made in America.
Made America. It's great. But no, supporting her in this. So we had our first child, our son Grayson. He's 4, going to be 5, and then our second one, her name's Olive. She'll be 2 on Friday, which is crazy.
Oh wow!
I know, crazy.
2.
I know, it's wild. But when she was pregnant with her, she was doing flowers a lot, and was like, "This might be something I really want to do." And I was like, "Yeah, great, whatever you want to do, babe. I'm here for you." Yeah. And then like the more that she started getting more into it, and more events and more weddings and being pregnant, and then it was like, I don't know if I'm gonna go back to work after Olive was born. I don't know if I'm going back. And I was like, whatever you want to do, babe. Like, I'm 100% supportive. You want to start a business, like you want to live out your dream. Like, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. So she jumped in head first, and like a week after having Olive, she had an event and never went back to work at her regular job, and works way more now as a florist full time. It's nonstop for her. It's busy. And for me, supporting her is just, what can I do to help? You know, it's a little bit more difficult when you have kids coming home.
Sure.
And, I've worked all day, had a long day myself, and then come home and it's like, you need me to
time
sweep
to
up?
trade.
Totally. You need me to sweep up and clean up? I'm sweeping up and cleaning up.
Yeah.
What are we making for dinner?
Washing out those buckets is the best part.
Bleach those bad boys. I'm here. So just whatever I can do to support her.
You do not want to leave them too long.
No way, man.
Funky smell.
Get nasty, and don't stack them on top of each other either. We learned so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
More than I've ever thought.
Did I tell you that our neighbor downstairs works at the Flower Mart in Sacramento?
Oh, no.
So our little house is inundated with flower people.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. If it's not an Amazon package coming, it's a flower box getting shipped from a wholesaler somewhere at our house. So it's wonderful times. We have so much cardboard at our house from boxes.
So how do you strike a good work-life balance with all that going on?
It's tough, man. Kids balancing, like being a good husband, being a good father, being a good employee.
Yeah, I mean, how does Grayson, when he sees mom and dad working, like, what do you guys tell him?
It's work. He's always like, you have to go to work so much. And like, he's 4, so he doesn't really get it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
totally.
Like, why do you have to work so much? It's like, because I'm trying to provide for you, buddy. But yeah, for us, it's just trying to find that balance and still like keep our relationship like strong. You know what I mean? Because just because someone's a stay-at-home mom or like owns their business from home doesn't mean that they're just at home eating bonbons on the couch.
Right.
Like, I've had the kids multiple days, like where she's had something going on and I'll stay home and watch the kids. It's a lot.
It is.
It's not like it doesn't end. You know what I mean? Grayson's 4. He doesn't take a nap anymore. Olive takes
no naps.
No, man. Dude. I know. See, this is what you have to look forward to.
I know. You know what I'm looking forward to?
What's that?
Being an old man and taking naps.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm ready to take a nap right now for sure.
Yeah. Afternoon nap.
Amen. But no,
my grandma's 92. She said she takes one every day. Hers are getting to be like 2 or 3 hours.
Well, it's a long nap.
Yeah.
So if I could get like a strong 30 in,
she makes jokes about I may not wake up from a nap one day.
Don't say that, Grams.
I know.
Don't say that, Grams.
She's sweet.
We need you.
Her mom lived to be 102, so I think she's still got some time left.
Oh yeah, she's here.
We'll see.
She's here.
All those GMOs, might. I'm kidding.
No, it is a tough balance for sure. Trying to balance, for me working Monday through Friday, her working Monday through Friday, and then having events on Friday night, Saturday night. sometimes Sunday, and then Sunday is like, we got to go grocery shopping for the week. And then before you know it, you're like right back into the next cycle. And then it's work. And then, so I think for us is strategically trying to like plan time, like Mother's Day. You don't get to celebrate Mother's Day when you're working flowers, Katie didn't get to have a wonderful Mother's Day. You're busy providing a Mother's Day for everybody else. So last week we celebrated a week after and went out and did our own thing. So it was less crowded too.
Do people ask you to do things and you're like, I'm a father too, or I'm a mother too?
Of course, all the time. Yeah, all the time. Yeah. It is tough because it's hard to find because again, you come home and then it's dinner time, then it's bath time, then it's bedtime, and then you wake up and it's that again, and then it's that again, and then Thursday she wakes up at 6 a.m. to go get flowers. And if it's a big wedding, she might wake up at 3 to go to San Francisco to go get flowers. And then you're just like trying to balance it all, and late nights. And then Saturday, packing up the car strategically to make sure nothing tips over and nothing falls. Right. Make sure the AC's on. And Sunday, you're cleaning up, grocery shopping, and back at it. So it is a balance for sure.
Yeah.
It is balance. Trying to find time to golf.
How do you, yeah, there you go. That doesn't happen. When people come into your life who aren't as busy as you, how do you graciously help them understand where you're at and the type of schedule that you're dealing with?
It's hard. It's hard when someone may just work a Monday, like Monday through Friday, and not have anything else going on, or they might not have kids, and they're like, "Oh, we're doing this tonight. Can you make it
right now?"
No, I can't make it.
Can you be at Dave and Buster's in 45 minutes?
Totally. No, we're in bath time right now. I got naked kids in the tub. You know what I mean?
I'm naked. We're just kidding. The whole family.
Everyone is just naked right now. No, it's really, really tough. And I think as you grow older, I think it's harder to make friends. Like quality friendships. Yeah. We all have friends that you're like, hey, and Sally, hey, Johnny. Like
you'd love to hang out with them, but
yeah, of course. You'd love to do something, but it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So it is tough trying to get other people to understand without being like, hey, listen, bozo, I work 100 hours. We have this going on. I can't just do this.
Yeah. Do you laugh when people say 40 hours, their full-time job?
Yeah, for sure. You're like, that's cute.
Yeah, because your first job,
yeah, of course,
is probably not even only 40 hours.
Yeah. So it's tough. I know, everyone's in a different season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you try to
and that's really, I think, what it is it's you're okay with the season they're in, but often people aren't okay with people being in other seasons.
Totally. And they're like, almost like you switched up. Like you're different. It's like, I grew, you know what I mean? There's more things going on. You're going to get there.
Totally.
Not that we're better or bigger or anything.
It's not a condescension. It's just an acknowledgement of the stages.
Totally. Like we have a friend, he lives in Merced, and they just had a baby. Like he would text us like the day of and be like, hey, we're going to Top Golf, and then we're going to go downtown and we're going to go do this and go do that. And we got 2 kids at home. Like we're not just dropping everything to go do that. We can't. But then they just had their first baby. And then he texts me, he's like, this is tough, dude. And I'm like, I know, it's very tough. Like him going back to work, and she's trying.
There's a little person now always has their hand out,
always
for attention
and
or food, or
you don't sleep anymore. You don't. It's not normal anymore. This is your new normal.
But you used to think you needed 8 hours,
of course, and now you're like, man, I can get 4 straight hours. I'm feeling real good.
Yeah, anywhere, anytime of the night.
The best advice is sleep when they sleep. You don't get to sleep at night anymore. If you might be sleeping from 1 to 4 during the day.
So when I started staying home with Molly, I was like, okay, during her 2-hour nap, I'm going to try to do things,
get some work done,
get some stuff done. And now if I'm tired, I just lay down and
you have to.
Yeah. She's right over there and I just pass out.
It might be the only 2 hours
I'll wake up when you start screaming.
Totally. No,
because it could be in the middle of the night, up 3 times,
Yeah. No, and that gets better. And that's a season of waking up every 2 hours. Then they sleep 3 hours and you're like, we just cracked the code. We just cracked the code to this. And then it's 4 hours. And the first time they sleep through the night, you're freaked out because you're like, they didn't get up.
Yeah.
Like, are they okay?
Dead.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just different times, different things. Everyone's at a different point in their life, and it's just it's nuts trying to get people to understand that, and also encourage people though. Also, like not making it seem like it's
enjoy
miserable.
the stage that you're in too, because when you're married, now you can't do this.
Of course.
When you have kids, now you can't do these things. Yeah. But if you're not married, you can't do these things, which are really awesome things.
Which is super
If
cool.
you don't have kids, you can't do these things, which are really awesome things.
Yeah. And this sounds so corny, so cheesy, but like when you come home and like Grayson and Olive, they both like run to the front door to like give you a hug. Like nothing else matters at that time.
Yeah.
Like I know that sounds so corny, but like it's real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't care that you had the longest day ever. They don't care about
They don't
anything.
know about
They
Bobby,
don't know that
who wouldn't clean up the poop in the bathroom.
They don't know about Bobby. You know? They don't know that like our golf tournament's next week and it's like full go mode right now. And we're trying to like just make this go off, you know?
They just know daddy's home.
Dad's home, you know? And then but for me, it's taking the time to like put my phone down, put my keys down, and like it's us for
fully
let's
focus.
Get 10 minutes of just, what'd you guys do today? Oh, you colored with mom? Oh, what'd you color? What'd you paint? What'd you do? You know, it's just learning all of that.
Yeah.
Because if I come home and I'm like, oh gosh, this was a miserable day, and now I'm super negative, and they're excited to see me, and I'm like, hey guys, then I go sit on the couch.
Yeah.
Like
you gotta have something left when they get home.
Of course.
There was a season where my dad would get home from work. He had a little pickup truck, little Toyota, a Dodge Ram 50, the littlest one. And he'd pull in the driveway and he'd honk the horn, and we'd run out and jump in the back of his truck.
Yeah.
And then he would go do donuts on our property because we had like a couple of trees out there.
Yeah.
And it was all dirt, and he would just do donuts around the trees with us in the back.
But that was special, right?
Totally.
Like you remember that.
And those like 5 minutes of doing donuts, that was like him depositing so much emotional positivity into us.
And there was days that he didn't want to do that.
He could go sit on the couch for 30 minutes after that because we were jazzed, you know.
But there was days he didn't want to do that. But he did. Totally. You know what I mean? Because
he's probably out of gas.
Yeah, totally. When gas prices now.
Oh boy.
You're not doing that. So
yeah. No, he only had to drive a mile to work. So
he's all right.
Yeah. If he was out of gas, he was a bad manager of his gas tank.
Yeah, no, it's tough managing work home balance. It's tough managing friend to friend balance, you know, and I think that's what it's very important to have like solid people that you don't have to have everyday check-ins. They don't need something every single day, you know.
I think that is the mark of a true friendship is, can you pick up where you left off without a bunch of pomp and circumstance?
Of course.
And if you can't, that person is probably a superficial friend.
And not everybody is that friend. Not everybody.
Yeah, which is okay.
Some friends are, hey, how's it going? Good to see you, man. All right, see you later. Other friends are, how are you? No, really. How are you guys doing? Yeah. You know.
Here's a handkerchief.
Totally. Do you need to cry? Do you need me to hold you? So
yeah.
But I think it's important to have the gamut of friends. You know, there's some people that are just high five friends, and then there's hug friends, and then there's cry friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a place for everybody, and it's managing all that at the same time of keeping your kids healthy and safe, and your wife happy, and it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a lot.
I had a friend who got in a bad accident, and I hadn't seen him in a while because of some drama between him and a family member of mine. And when he got in his accident, I showed up at the hospital, and some of his closer friends said, "Why are you here?" And I said, well, I couldn't be there for the bullshit, but I can be here for this.
Of course.
And that brought all of us together. Yeah. That time, not what I said, but that time brought us together. And, you know, we talk about that. He passed away. He ended up passing away. And so, you know, that time like solidified all of our friendship, or cauterized it. Yeah. I would say more. And so I think that there are times, you know, in your life where things get tested, and then you realize, is this deep, and is it meaningful, and does it have a good foundation, or is it just kind of that?
Of course.
Hey buddy, see you. How's the weather?
Yeah. And I think there's a place for all of it. You know what I mean? Again, just like
can't have a deep friendship with
everybody. Like I can't walk up and be like, tell me your life story to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I think relationships build organically, and there's people that you click with and there's people you don't. There's people that are annoying and there's people who are great. You know what I mean? And it's accepting that and being able to move on from it and not let it affect you. You know what I mean? Being able to be like, hey, good to see you, bud. Like, oh, yikes. Glad I didn't get into this 77-minute conversation with that guy.
I was recently walking somewhere with Katie, and I see this guy coming towards us who I knew from like 20 years ago. Oh. He was actually a friend of my dad's, and I worked for him just on the side. And I said, this is going to be a rough interaction. Yeah. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, too late. We're out of time. Yeah, he's here. Done. You know, that's all I was able to say before the gap closed. And then we were there, and we walked away, and she said, man, that guy's hell annoying. I'm like, yeah, I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
It happens. Every time I see him, he asks me to do something. Oh. And sure enough,
he did.
He was like, I need you to come to this group that I'm starting for business mentorship, blah, 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 blah.
I need you.
And I was like, dude, I don't have time for that, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is with some people.
And that's okay. It's okay.
Just float on.
Just, you have to.
Right?
Not let it affect you and just keep moving, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that has been a big indicator of successful people this last year. Is there were a lot of people who just stopped or they gave up and completely got rid of whatever they were doing. And then there's people who just kept moving.
Yeah.
They just keep
keep
moving. Don't be a stagnant target, you know, because the world is just throwing darts at you. And if you just keep moving and stay active, you're going to overcome.
Yeah. And you have to. And I think that it's like that with everything, you know? Life's tough. It's not hard. No one has it easy.
No.
You know what I mean? I didn't have it easy.
But you're a white male.
Going, but you just keep going. You keep pushing. You know what I mean? Like you have to. You have to keep going. And things aren't fair. And you can either choose to like sit back and cry about it. You can be upset about it and woe is me. And or you can just say, okay, yeah, that sucks. Now what? You know what I mean? And move on to the next thing. We've all been treated unfairly. We've all had things happen that aren't fair, that don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know? And there's times you get in your feelings and you're like, why did this happen? You know?
Sure.
And it sucks, but you persevere, you move on and you use it to help somebody else who's going through it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
How do you think that your experience with some of those hardships can encourage people who are listening?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, my dad committed suicide. And it was tough, you know, being at a very vulnerable age. My dad was a severe alcoholic, like awful.
Because of that, do you not drink?
It's made me a lot more cautious.
Okay.
Like so I'll have like a glass of champagne.
Sure.
But like, I still know like my dad was an alcoholic and I don't want to fall into that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know my personality, like I like golfing. So when I started golfing, I'm like, I want to buy all the golf clubs. I want everything. You know, I love fishing and I went to like 2 fly fishing classes and I was like, guess what? I'm a fly fisherman.
I'm going to be tying flies.
I need everything.
Yeah.
So I went and I bought a fly fishing pole and I buy everything but that's the kind of person I am. It's like, if I get into it, I want to get all the way into it.
All the way in.
And that it makes me nervous that that's how my dad was though, too, with alcohol is that he would come home and he'd walk through the door. And if you could catch him from the moment he walked into the door to the moment he walked into the garage is where he kept his alcohol in the garage. If you caught him in that moment, best dad ever. As soon as he walked into the garage, it's over because he'd walk in after he would hide it. We all knew exactly where it was. He would hide it and then come in and he'd be glass-eyed and sit in his chair and couldn't be bothered. Yell at my mom, scream at me, you know, and later on would get, I mean, not only verbal, but physically abusive to my mom and myself.
Wow.
And it was tough, you know. The last words I ever said to my dad were, I hate you. The last thing I ever said to him.
Wow.
And we went to, I was at a wedding reception or something. And I remember getting a phone call from my neighbor. His name was Dave. And hey, what's up, Dave? And he was like, hey, you need to come home. And I was like, what do I need to come home for? Like, I'm having a good time. We got friends here. Da, da, da. He's like, no, you need to come home. Like, now. I was like, I'm not coming home. So, like, and he was like, no, your dad, he's hurt. And I joked and said, did he hurt himself? And he was like, yeah, he's hurt, but he's fine. He's totally fine. But he hurt himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll be home in a little bit. So get home. And I remember turning the street. We lived on a court. And I remember turning the street and seeing no police cars, no nothing out there, but just seeing a coroner's like van out there.
Mm-hmm.
And my 16-year-old mind didn't understand coroner meant death. You know what I mean? You're like, this is weird. Like, what's going on? And then, like, as soon as my mom sees me, I remember her falling down to her knees in our driveway and crying and like it was tough,
Mm-hmm.
and looking at my neighbor Dave, like, bro, what happened? Like, you said everything's fine. And
he just lied to you.
He wanted me to get home safely.
Yeah.
He didn't want me to freak out and panic.
Sure,
and I understand that now, but at the time I'm like,
yeah,
why the F would you do this? You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it was finding out, he shot himself in our home after, I left, and we got into a huge blowout before I left, and I was getting ready to leave. And he said, son, I looked back, he said, I hate you. And I looked back thinking, like, I hate you too. Like, let's just go on. And it was the last thing I ever said to him.
Mm.
It's been 20, this year will be 20 years actually in August. And it's meant everything. It shaped exactly who I've become, though.
Yes.
Because of that, I stopped hanging with the crowd I shouldn't have been hanging with. And like realized very quickly, there's two ways that we can go about this. I'm either going to go this route and be super bad,
mm-hmm.
or I can get better and be a positive influence, have a positive impact on my younger sister and my little brother.
Mm-hmm.
So
you became the dad
quickly. I ended up working for my next door neighbor, Dave. He painted houses. So I learned very quickly how to tape off
mm-hmm.
things. And, he would take me before school and help me take things, take me over to a house, and we tape stuff off. And I'd prep the house pretty much for them. They'd come and paint it. Then after school, I'd go back and tear all my paint down off. And,
wow. Strike it.
He helped me.
Wow.
So, but yeah, it was huge. But because of that, I moved up here. Because of that, I met my wife and have the job that I have and have the family that I have. So it's just crazy.
So you see the way that it became a compass for you.
100%. Because I mean, obviously, if that weren't to have happened, I don't know what that would have looked like, what my life would have been.
He could have killed you.
So something I haven't shared with a lot of people. My mom told me like 2 nights before, she had said, can you take the bullets out of the gun? I'm nervous. And I looked at my mom and I was like, it's not gonna happen. That's not, like, pretty much you're silly for even thinking that. It's not gonna happen. And then for him to commit suicide using that took a long time for me to heal.
Of course.
Because I lived with what if.
Yeah.
Well, what if I would have just listened? What if I would have done this? What if I would have done that?
Yeah.
But living your life in what if will literally send you down the worst spiral ever.
Yeah.
It will. Because I can, I mean, just sit like, well, what if this would happen? Well, what if, and what if this, and what if that? And, and then I start thinking, what if he was in a drunken rampage and he went to go find the gun and there were no bullets in the gun? Then what happens? Is then my whole family now no longer with us? It's those type of things that I start thinking about of like, what if?
And it will never end if you let it.
It won't.
Yeah.
Because it's then what if, I got into a car accident. What if I would have just gone 5 minutes later? That wouldn't have happened. What if I would have
said I love you instead of I hate you?
What if we would have made up before? What if I would have said I loved you? Would he have then said, like, I love you too? Like, what if will drive you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can live in what if in anything anything that happens, you can live in a what if, right? And it's how you react to the what if, and like using that to like do more, you know, like being able to share my story with other people, that like living with, like, my mom was a single mom towards the, you know, before I left, and like having a family member who passed away. Like there's a lot of things that I feel like I can relate to, like kids that we work with directly.
Yeah.
And being able to relate to them, being able to.
It's a powerful tool, because they can't say to you, well, you don't know what it's like.
For sure. And I always say, you're right, I don't know what it's like, but I do know what it's like to
suffer.
XYZ.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't, it's not in a way of like, well, look at this bad thing that happened to me. It's worse than the bad thing that happened to you. You know what I mean?
It's not a comparison.
I feel like a lot of times that happens. It's like, oh, I had a rough life, and people are like, I had a rough life too. And it's like, well, I had to go through this. Well, I went through this. And then it turns into like a one-up type thing. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to one-up you on how bad things were.
Yeah.
Like that's not something like, so for me, it's just being able to use like what happened. Let's like to move forward. How do I use that to impact kids who might be going through something similar?
Yeah.
You know, who has an alcoholic parent, who is dealing with addiction, who's to be able to share, you know, this is what happened in my life, you know? So
do you think that your view of your son is a lot different because of that too?
For sure. There were some like good times with my dad, you know, we talked about like going to a Giants game. Like he would take me to Giants games and that kind of stuff. That memory is great. But on the way home, there was an AM PM that was like on the like Altamont Pass, and he would buy me an ice cream, and he'd buy a 6-pack, and he'd drink it on the way home. And it was, if you tell mom that I did this, we're never going to another game. So it's like,
you never told mom because you wanted to go to the game.
We were going to all the Giants games, man. I'm going.
Yeah.
But it's like there's parts of memories that are great, and then like when you think of the memory as a like in whole, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, that wasn't great.
Yeah.
But it does, because for me, it's like I didn't really know like exactly how to be a dad. I just knew what I didn't want to do. That makes sense. I don't know what it's like to be a perfect dad or have a perfect dad as a role model. And some people do, and it's great. But I didn't have that. I just knew what I don't want to become. I didn't want to become what my dad was.
Sure.
I don't want to like, I didn't want to get into like alcohol like that. And I didn't want to like try this or try that, because again, I'm gonna go all in on it.
Yeah.
You know, like helping my wife with flowers, it's all in. Fly fishing, it's all in. You know, it's like all these things are all in. And I know myself, and I don't want to get into that.
Don't get into like expensive habits.
So try not to. Golf's pretty expensive.
Get into like like knitting or something.
It could be really cool.
Materials are cheap.
So no,
I have every knitting needle, guys.
All of them.
I spent $50.
The worst part is like going like finding a YouTube video, and I'm like, I think I'm a professional now because I watched a YouTube video. I'm like, I think I could build a house. Like, it's not happening. So
yeah, don't get into like Festool or something.
No, it's tough.
I'm into elite German handmade tools.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, but. Yeah, for me, that experience really shaped like who I am, you know?
Yeah.
Again, looking back, it's like you can literally follow everything from that moment, like meeting like a group of friends who helped like keep me on the straight and narrow, which is the reason why I moved up to Roseville. I didn't know Roseville.
Because of those friends.
Yeah. Invited me, and then it was like, okay, so then I moved up here, and then like had an apartment. 2-bedroom apartment, and there's 4 of us in there, and we're sharing bedrooms, and
it's awesome.
Like just the grind of making it like on your own, you know, doing it. And then
why do you think that a lot of young people who they're in that stage of life, maybe like 17 to 23, they're not willing to make those sacrifices? Like, I'm not going to share a room with somebody, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times, like, it's like it's looked down upon, right? Like it's looked down upon as like, oh, you share a room with somebody? That's weird. When it's like, no, I'm just trying to make it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Don't knock the hustle. You know what I mean? Like we were all like, we lived in an apartment. We all had jobs. We were all working. We were just like saving for that next thing. It's the next part of your life. It's the next season, the next journey. you think we wanted to share a room?
No.
You think that's what we wanted to do? That's what we had to do, you know? And I mean, we split rent 4 ways, and like it's crazy.
But you're not going to get to the next stage if you don't make sacrifices in the stage you're in.
And you can be 18 and go buy an expensive car and have an $800 30% interest rate car from a dealership. You can do that. That's great. Like, but when that $800 car payment doesn't allow you to pay rent, which doesn't allow you to have food, which doesn't allow you to do this and do that, it's like, it's silly, you know? But I think people fall in love with the Instagram version of what like life is, what, you know, because people don't post the down
That could
stuff.
be a Lambo kit on top of a Pontiac Fiero for all you know.
And I'm sure it happens.
Yeah.
You know, but for us, it's like, or for me, I just think you see all the likes, you see the videos, you see the TikToks, you see the mansions, you see that stuff. And it's like, man, I want that. And that's great to want that. But like that person didn't start there either.
No.
And maybe they got lucky and maybe they did.
I think most of it's like Fire Festival. It's like, it's not even real.
No, of course.
It's just all ethereal.
And that's the thing is like, you look at things and you're like, that's rented. You know what I mean? Like, you don't own that.
Yeah.
Like, you want me to Airbnb a house for the night and get a photographer? I'll change my clothes 100 times. We'll take a bunch of pictures, and then I'll post them throughout the year. Like, I got it like that? For what? For what? To get 100 likes on a picture? Sorry.
Not worth it.
Sorry. Like, no. I'd rather post pictures of like our kids. You know, things that like matter, things that are
have
real.
Value.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
So, but I think seeing it and seeing like teens in our teen center fall into the trap of like, oh, look at this.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Like, this person has 1 million followers. Like, what does that mean? What does it mean? How's it? Oh, they're famous. Like, are they? Your Instagram famous? That's great. Like, congratulations. That's great. You're an influencer. You have a super cool influencer hat. Like, that's dope. You know what I mean?
Should be a dunce cap.
Congratulations. Like, that's great. But you have no real world experience.
Yeah.
You know, like
when the zombie apocalypse comes, you're not going to go to the influencers.
Man. That hat's going to not help you.
No.
You know? You know, like I just think of like, literally think about like, if Instagram were to stop, then what? Now you can't share all the crazy, awesome things that are going on. And, you know, like, what if that stops? You're in trouble because there's no substance there, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's hard. I mean, I do think kids have it hard because it's a constant stage of like comparison with Snapchat and Instagram and all these things of just like, look what I'm doing. You used to
grow up and not know what anybody else's life was. I didn't know what anybody
was doing, you know? Like, it was just like, oh, I'll see you at the park, see you at the basketball court, you know, see you here, see you there. And now it's like a constant, what are you doing? Where are you at? Yeah. I'm going live here. I'm Snapchatting this. I'm doing this. Like, it's tough because now you're just trying to keep up. And if you can't keep up, it's like, oh, that guy, he doesn't have it like that. So I think it's tough. You know, it is tough. And we see kids all the time who are struggling with it, trying to just.
It's almost in the same vein as your what if statement.
100%.
It's like, what if I was sleeping with that chick instead of my wife?
Yep.
Because that lady looks like she's having a great time.
Yep.
Or what if I was driving that guy's car instead of my beater?
Yep.
Or what if I was living in that place instead of where I'm at?
For sure.
And those what ifs are never going to get answered.
No.
And those people probably don't even live the life that you think.
No, of course not. And it'll drive you crazy thinking like that. Just like the what if. Just like, oh man, if I just had that car. Oh man, if I didn't have my Prius. Oh man. Like, I didn't get a Prius because I think it looks cool. I didn't get a Prius because I'm trying to like pick up all the chicks. You know what I mean? I got it because I drive from Roseville to Auburn and I need someone with good gas mileage. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's past the like, oh, I want this super dope car.
Yeah. Now you got to get a Tesla.
Now, if someone wants to give me a Tesla, like, I'm in. Like, I'm 100% in. But
thanks, Elon.
Yeah, thanks, man. But no, if
our next guest in the podcast.
See you soon, buddy.
Hey, boy.
But yeah, no, it's tough. And I think kids have it. It's a different kind of tough. You know, because it's a constant comparison. It's a constant struggle. It's a constant. what's this person doing? Being able to check in, because you could check in with anybody and see what they're doing at any moment ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tough.
It is. I think that's also leading to a lot of depression and stuff too for people.
For sure.
That comparison that they're never gonna be able to reach the level of what they're seeing around them.
Yeah. I think back of like high school and like all of the like cool kids, right? And you're like, oh man, that guy's so cool.
Never gonna be as cool as him.
Never, right? But having that thrown in your face all day would be really tough. Seeing like it on social media and that kind of stuff. But like fast forward now, I graduated in 2003. Fast forward now, and I see those same people post on Instagram today, and you're like, oh man, you're still living in 18 years ago. You're
still wearing Jordans.
You're still like, we're still not past that. You know what I mean? Like what was cool then isn't cool now, but we're still acting like it's cool. Like it's just
the glory days.
It's such a struggle. And that's why it's like I trying to tell teenagers like Instagram doesn't matter. Who cares what anyone else is doing? Who cares?
Yeah.
You know? And like not to be the like corny dad that's like, if all your friends jumped off the bridge, would you? But like, who cares? You know?
Yeah.
Someone went to the beach. Great. Like, you don't know what happened on the way home, though. Parents might be fighting. You know what I mean? Like, they go home and they're crying themselves to sleep at night, but they're not posting that.
Yeah.
They're just posting the highlights because they want to live up to that. And it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. I've had many people make a judgment based on something I posted on Instagram.
No.
That was not real.
No.
Oh, yeah.
People don't rush your judgment like that, Luke. You stop
yes,
that.
They do.
You stop that right
I've
now.
had people text me and say, I thought we were having lunch today. Why are you in San Francisco? And I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I just hadn't posted that photo yet.
Yeah.
We're still having lunch today.
It's real.
But they made a fool of themselves by yelling at me over text message.
That's great.
Telling me what a flake I am.
Totally. Meanwhile, you're sitting at the restaurant.
I have flaked on people, but yeah, I'm sitting at the restaurant like ordering a sandwich.
Here. Yeah.
Where are you, bozo?
It's tough.
It is.
It's tough.
What's your first memory of coffee?
Not knowing anything, walking into somewhere and being like, can I get like a milkshake? Like, can I get, like.
Do you remember where it was?
Oh, probably Starbucks. I mean, we're talking it's a long time ago now.
So your parents didn't drink coffee?
Like Folgers?
Yeah.
Which tastes like garbage.
But it didn't have any kind of memory impact.
No, not at all. But I remember everyone.
Your first memory is like going into an espresso place.
Totally. And not knowing anything. Not knowing the difference between a mocha to a latte to
let me
anything.
Get a frappe latte.
Yeah, I'm like, can I get, it's like a milkshake type thing. It's got, and there's like whipped cream on top and like chocolate over it. Can I get, what's that called? And they're like, and then it was like, do you want like a Java chip or do you want like a Frappuccino?
No.
Or do you want
choices.
And I'm like, whatever you
Did you just turn into Napoleon Dynamite, run head first out of there?
It'd be like, whatever you think tastes good, I just want that. And then it was, that was.
And you were hooked. Or you thought it was too much.
Yeah. Like for me, again, when Starbucks was kind of like going towards its peak was tough. Because everyone was like, let's meet at Starbucks.
Yo, let's get a Bucks.
Starbucks.
Let's go to the
Everyone's
Bucks.
got to get everyone's got to. And then if someone would order like double latte mocha frap, and you're just like, I'll just have whatever they're having. Because you're like embarrassed. You don't know what it is,
It became almost like I guess is that a verb? Like, do you want to get a Starbucks?
Yeah.
Or it was just like.
It was a thing.
Yeah.
It was a thing for sure.
Yeah.
And then it was like, which one? It's like, do you want to go to this one, that one, this one? They're all just 37 of them on the street.
Yeah, wherever the cute barista is working.
So,
that's what I found out when I worked there.
That doesn't happen.
Yes, it does. Can he make my drink?
Yeah.
So many times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. No, that for me, that was it though. Like probably like some crappy Starbucks drink that I didn't even know what I was getting. I had zero coffee in it. And it was just, it's like a coffee being ground up.
What did you think about Foursquare when you came in? Was it a weird place?
No.
Because it wasn't like Starbucks?
It wasn't like that at all. So there was a girl who used to work for you. I don't remember what her name was. She had dark hair.
Olivia,
that's exactly what her name was. She was phenomenal. Because I remember walking in not knowing anything. And our friend Jimmy Waugh posted that he was here. And I was like, I'm going to go check that place out.
Yeah.
And again, it was a closet. And I walked in and she was like, what can I get for you? And I was like, oh no. And she was like, do you like this or do you like that? And I remember being like,
She became your
I'm
guide.
not quite sure. You know what I mean? But
Wow.
she helped like be like, okay, so like a latte is like more milk, like milk based. You know what I mean? Like a mocha, like you can get like a white mocha or like a chocolate. And I was just like, mine's like, what?
A whole new world.
But so I'd be like, oh, let's do a vanilla. And then she was like, oh, we make this vanilla and we do that. And I was like, what you mean? You don't get the vanilla in the little like vanilla bottle and put it in? Like, no, we do this. And
Wow.
So I remember being like, this is dope. So like, and not just saying this, but like, I think Foursquare might've been like my first real experience with a coffee shop, like an actual coffee shop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like call Starbucks whatever you want to, but like an actual like independent
hipster
coffee. Those losers.
Yeah.
But like for me, I think it was like one of the first. And then I remember when the remodel was going on, it was like, I don't know where to go now. What do I do? Like I'm lost.
Where do I go?
Lost without you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Can't help myself.
I can't myself. How does it feel? You
Yeah.
know?
To know that I love you, baby.
It's tough. So no, I think that was.
You just waited.
I
You just
waited.
didn't drink
I
coffee
did.
for 14 months.
Just shook off the coffee shivers and it was great.
Yeah.
No, but I really think that was like one of the first like real coffee shop was coming in here. And that's why when you guys expanded and it became larger, like walking in and being like, what is this? You know, because I just knew it was like super small, and then
It was
had, like,
quite the
walk in
transformation.
The back. Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. That old vibe feels like a lifetime
forever ago.
Yeah.
No, it was forever ago.
But that was a cool vibe.
It was.
It was awesome.
Yeah. That was for sure. Like trying to really think about that was like one of my like first like real coffee experiences other than like I'll just have what they're having.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, for me, you're one of the people who kind of encapsulates what the coffee shop like meet cutes are supposed to look like and the type of conversation that I love to hear. So you just run into people and you just start talking to people and it just is popping and you're always encouraging people and you're always inviting people here. And it's a huge encouragement to me just to see people like you like want to be here and spend time here. And people have told me, you know, my friend CJ sent me here, stuff like that. So I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. You guys do it right. You know, I feel like it's just such a different vibe, you know. Now, like we go to different coffee shops and stuff, but it's just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's super stuck up, you know, and it's like, it immediately you're like, I don't want to do this. You
Why are they doing this to
like,
me?
Come on, man. So, no, we love it. We're big Foursquare fans, and yeah, I try to tell everybody.
Thank you for being a model citizen of Foursquare.
I'm trying. I even did like a Yelp review.
Yeah,
so
I remember
good.
that.
So good.
Yeah.
I was like typing out. I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
Did it get removed? They're like, this guy's his friend.
This guy knows what's going on. You know.
That's happened.
Of course.
Jesse's got removed.
Jesse's kind of shady though, so we get it.
This has been another episode of the Proclamation Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Nolan, with our guest, CJ. Thank you for watching and thank you for being here, CJ.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers to everyone watching. Please like and subscribe and look forward to more genuine conversations. As you could see with CJ and I, it's just about sitting down, talking to people, hearing their story, and I hope that someone was encouraged today and that you just remember to not ask what if, but how can I help?
Yeah, it's good.
Cheers.
It's good.